Hey, in this video today, we're going to discuss the most underutilized type of planning in the business world that, if we do this correctly, can take our sales, take them to a whole different level. Greetings winners, Kevin here. It's great to be here again with you today. If you're new to our channel, we discuss practical ways to help you have a more successful future as leaders. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you see all the other videos on finding ways to win. Okay, what is the most underutilized type of planning in the business world? I would say it is big event or big change pre-planning. Now, why is this such a big deal? I was a general manager at a company, and before the 2016 election, we actually looked at it and said, I really believe Trump's going to win. My gut feel, some of the stuff about a month before the election, sent the CEO an email and said, I think Trump's going to win. Here's the actions I want to take. He didn't agree with me. He said, let's wait and see. But I started taking every action I could that was within my control. So even looking at some of the sales routes, the bottlenecks in the office, in the shop, we raised inventory. We got as much stuff as I could within my control and my limits ready for that election. And after that election and Trump got in, things really took off for the oil and gas market, and our sales took off. It was a fabulous year. Now, that's what happened in that event. That's why this is such a big deal in my mind. But let's talk about what most companies do. Well, most small, medium, large, not the real big companies. They have all this down. They have their contingency processes. But say for most of us, what do we do when these things happen? We don't do a thing. We are so busy running the day-to-day, overwhelmed with things. We don't do a thing. That big event happens. At that point in time, we're like, oh no, this happened. What do? We get our team together, which might take several days or a week. Who knows? Someone's on vacation. Sit down, look at the event, look at the problems, and start deciding what we're going to do. The problem is, if our competitors have actually anticipated or ready or have a plan, they have a head start. If we run out of product, what are our customers are going to do that rely on our product to make money? They're going to buy from them. It's some of the easiest market share to steal that there is. I have something you need. They don't. Come buy from me. So that's why this is such a incredibly important thing. And we maybe didn't think that we needed to do this. In the past, things were so stable, but then there's 9/11, pandemics, hurricanes, tsunami that hit Japan. There's little wars nowadays. Even one of the big things was new presidential elections. The Republicans are pointing this way. The Democrats are pointing this. Whoever wins, if they have total control, it is night and day different what it'll cost our companies. So that's why just looking at having some of these plans, we can get a head start. And maybe we're the ones with product, we're the ones with service, we're the ones who can take advantage of it. And when our our competitors are having trouble, we are taking their market share because we have product available or services. Okay, let's think about what we should do. The first thing is actually sit and make a list of all the big things that could happen. I listed some of those already, but just literally sit down and make that list. Hey, these are all the big things that can happen that could really change things. Interest rates going up and down, what that does to the housing market, the price of oil, all these different things. What events really can affect our business? If something doesn't affect it much, we're not worried about it at this point. Let's look at a lot of the direct correlation effects that really affect our business. Second thing to do, we have this list of all these different items. Let's pick the one that is the most likely to happen, that actually has a significant effect on our business. So if something has a real minor, let's not waste our time on that. So the one most likely to happen is my favorite, of course. The second option could be look at the one that has the greatest impact on the business. So either most likely, biggest impact. Those would be the ones. I would pick one of those and start it first. And I'm just saying pick one because if you haven't done this before, just pick one and work your way through one. So it's a great way to start. The third thing to do is actually think about the level of risk that we can take, you are willing to take, or the owners or the bankers will allow you to take. Now, bottom level is none. What do we do if there's no risk? Nothing. We've actually listed out all those situations, what could happen and the problems it could cause us. That's it. We're not going to spend any more time. But still, doing that much, if one of those things happen, that gives us that head start, that little jump start compared to our competition. So the next level of risk, I would say, is the low risk. Now, on the low risk, we're not really making any big investments. We're just taking, I guess we could source it out to someone to go through that stuff, or we just take the people we have and we dedicate some time saying, hey, this event will happen. Boom. Here's all the problems it caused. What are the solutions? Okay. Real life example. Let's think about a tsunami hits Japan, takes out our supply line from Japan. Let's actually look at that and say, okay, who are our backup suppliers from Japan if there's a big earthquake or tsunami? So then at least we'd have the list of those companies, even talk to them, got to know the right people, have their pricing, their contracts, maybe even some samples, so we are set up if that happens. Next level of risk is kind of that medium level of risk, and that's what I did at that other job where we took advantage of the President Trump getting in back then and what happened in the oil and gas market. We actually raised our inventory. Now, when we raised our inventory, we didn't go buy a bunch of things that we could never sell or invest in a bunch of equipment. No, we bought inventory that was some longer lead time items, some other stuff we needed, all the stuff we knew we would sell. So if I was wrong, we'd have that inventory blip and we could just take it down over time. We would sell those parts. The other thing you can do is another medium risk sort of thing is actually write up a job description for other people. Post it. Actually start to interview people. Don't lie to them and say we're hiring right away. But when you're interviewing them, actually let them know at the end, your other candidates. Say, hey, we're looking when this stuff happens, we're hiring, we're getting everything ready because we're going to be expanding soon. It's not an official thing, but in the near future, we're hoping on that happening. Because what happens, there's a big event when the economy really took off, the lead time, part lead time shot out. So if you actually had those parts there, huge advantage. The other thing that happened is everyone's prices seemed to go up. When demand and people couldn't buy enough, price increases. Everyone was given price increases. What's the third thing that happened then too? It was hard to find people. And when the job market was hot, it was an employee's market and the salaries went up. So reacting a little quicker on these things, we can have shorter lead time on our parts. We can have lower cost parts because we purchased them beforehand. And we can have employees on hand. And when we hire those people, we did it before a hot market, we can get them at lower cost than the other markets. So that's really the benefits of that. The high risk option, we're actually buying everything we need. We're buying other equipment. It could be facilities. We're starting to hire people, put in another shift. Whatever it is, we are going all out. We know this is going to happen, and we are going all in, purchasing everything to be ready when this happens. And again, that's the high risk thing, and that's one to really be cautious with. Okay, the fourth and final step on this whole area is writing down the triggers and the actions. So obviously a presidential election, you have the three different scenarios, all Republican, split government, all Democrat. That one, there's really not much to do with the trigger, but the trigger is the election's done. We know the results and away we go. Something else could be interest rates. We know as interest rates go up, we know at a certain point that's going to affect the housing market and slow things down. So maybe there's a certain interest rate change or level when we know from past history what happens. And when it hits that point, we start taking these actions going forward because we know if interest rates go up too high, the housing market's going to go down. Or it starts dropping, it's going to take off. Whatever it is in your specific industry, look at what ranges or whatever things start to happen. And you could have a soft trigger where, hey, when it hits this, let's get together and meet and review. Or it could be a hard trigger. Hey, when it hits this, we are going to start to take action. And that hits, you take those actions, you can get it done first, either in a positive or a negative. you're in a much better situation than your competitors. You can weather the hard times better because you took action quicker on the slowdown, or you ramped up and you can steal their market share because they don't have anything to sell. So hopefully that helped. Thanks for watching, and remember, today is a great day to win.